Let's learn the construction of an excavator and assemble it. At first, let's install a tracked undercarriage. It helps the vehicle move on the ground. This is a rotating platform. Let's install it. The rotating platform is needed to turn the body of an excavator right and left. Let's install an engine and a battery. The engine turns the track so that the vehicle can move, and the battery helps start the engine and provides power for headlights, controls, and other systems. Now let's install a fuel tank. The fuel tank contains gasoline or other fuel. And now let's install an oil pump. The oil pump delivers oil to cylinders so that they can move the boom in the bucket. It's time to install a counterweight. The counterweight is needed to prevent the excavator from falling when it lifts the load or digs the ground. Now let's install a cabin. The cabin is a separate part of a car. The car's driver sits in the cabin. Now we need to install the boom of an excavator. The boom of an excavator is needed to rise and lower the bucket. Let's install the bucket. The bucket is used to dig trenches and holes. Done! Keep up the good work. Let's learn the construction of a cart. Drag the parts to their places. This is the frame of a cart. Install it. The frame carries all the other parts of the cart. Apart from that, it ensures the safety of the driver during collisions. And now we need to install brakes. The brakes are used to slow the cart down or to stop it. Now let's install wheels. The cart needs its wheels to move on the track. This is an engine. Install it. The engine turns the wheels so that the cart can move. Now let's install a fuel tank. The fuel tank contains gasoline or other fuel. These are the controls. They consist of a steering wheel, a gas pedal, and a brake pedal. Install them. All this is needed for a driver to control the cart. Let's install a driver's seat. This is where the cart driver sits. Install the protective bodywork of the cart. It provides additional protection for the driver during collisions. Amazing! Let's learn the construction of a harvester and assemble it. First, let's install a frame. This is the basic part of a car. The frame carries all the other parts. Now let's install wheels. A car needs rolling wheels to move on the road. Let's install an engine and a battery. The engine makes the wheels turn so the car can move, and the battery helps start the engine and provides power for headlights, controls, and other systems. Now let's install a fuel tank. The fuel tank contains gasoline or other fuel. Now we need to install a thresher. The thresher is needed to separate grains from stalks. And now we need to install a body. Body is the exterior part of the car, which is attached to the frame. Now let's install a cabin. The cabin is a separate part of a car. The car's driver sits in the cabin. Install headlights and emergency lighting. The emergency lighting attracts attention, and the headlights are needed for the driver to see the road in the dark. And now let's install a cutter bar. The cutter bar is needed to mow the ears of wheat, corn cobs, or sunflower heads. Now it's time to install a grain tank. The grain tank is where the grain collected by the harvester is stored. Let's install an unloading auger. The unloading auger is needed to move the grain outside the grain tank, for example, into the body of a grain truck. Amazing! Done! Let's learn the construction of a tank and assemble it. At first, let's install a tracked undercarriage. It helps the vehicle move on the ground. Let's install an engine and a battery. The engine turns the track so that the vehicle can move, and the battery helps start the engine and provides power for headlights, controls, and other systems. These are the fuel tanks. Install them. The fuel tanks contain gasoline or other fuel. Let's install internal equipment. It consists of an ammunition stowage rack and seats for tank crew. It's time to install controls. They are necessary to control the tank, its gun, and systems. Let's install a hull. The hull is made of armor. It protects the crew and the internal parts. Now it's time to install the turret of a tank. The turret is needed to rotate the gun independently from the tank. And now let's install the gun of a tank. The gun is used to fire at targets. Now we need to install a hatch. The hatch is needed for the crew to enter and exit. Let's install the reactive armor of a tank. It provides additional protection of the tank in case it gets hit by an enemy projectile. It's time to install additional fuel tanks. Thanks to them, a tank can be refueled so it can travel a greater distance. Now let's install lighting equipment. It includes a searchlight, headlights, and rear lights. They are needed for the crew to see the road and targets in the dark. Let's install a communication system. It is needed to provide communication between the tank crew and the command. That's all.